Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gibbo the Shaman, and today we are talking about what happens when we have the sun placed in the ninth house in Sagittarius for Aries Ascendant. And I am a Vedic astrologer, not Western, so the things that I'll be talking about will be corresponding to the Vedic placements rather than the Western. And if you'd like to get a astrology reading from me, then you can go to gebotheshaman.com, and you can see here on the sides that I offer a bunch of services and courses and all kinds of good stuff, so go check them out. Alright, so let's just jump into it. Sun in the ninth house in Sagittarius for Aries Ascendant. So before we get into the complete breakdown analysis of everything this means, we need to talk about each individual part of this. So beginning with the sun, what does the sun represent? The sun represents the father. It represents government, royalty, authority, creative expression, creative self-expression, not being afraid of telling people what you really think and want and need and all that stuff. The self-expression also relates to children. Fifth house matters. And, it's funny because it represents both father and children. That's pretty much what sun represents. It's also the soul. It's also, the spirit, the soul, things like that. And then we have the ninth house, and Sagittarius. Both of those energies are very similar because Sagittarius is naturally the ninth sign of the zodiac, corresponding to the ninth house of the zodiac. So, Sagittarius ninth house is all about philosophy, teaching, preaching, spirituality. It's gurus, mentors, teachers, philosophers, people who teach you things, who mentor you, and teach you. Your gurus, your father, your mentors. Both the ninth and 10th house are significators of the father. So, it's it's very philosophical. Ninth house and Sagittarius have to do with higher education, doctorate degrees, master's degrees, things like that. And just a lot of book learning. Ninth house is very much to do with books, publications, things like that, like learning from a book. And it's it's really a house about teaching, philosophy, spirituality, things like that. So that's what ninth house is and represents, as well as Sagittarius. So note that with Aries Ascendant, we have Aries tainting every house with its energy. So because you're looking through red colored glasses whenever you look at your chart. Whenever people look at your chart, that's what it's going to be. So, with this Aries energy here, it's almost like it brings a passion, a fire, a heat. It brings about competition, aggression, masculine energy. It's like you have to fight for something. The ninth house in itself is more about philosophizing about things. It's like, oh yeah, this is a new way of thinking, a new way of perceiving the world and things like that. It's very nuanced and very, thoughtful and thought-provoking. And then you have the Mars energy here, which is like, this is where I stand, this is what I'm doing, this is, what it's about, and blah, blah, blah. Like, they'll be very, very strict, very disciplined, very focused, almost like a religious fanatic about certain things. And, as far as their individual philosophy, like, that can change. It could be like anywhere from like a terrorist to a fiery preacher to someone who stands on their moral and religious convictions, things like that, like very morally guided person and religiously guided person, things like that. Now, when you have Sun in Sagittarius in the ninth house with the Aries Ascendant, this brings a lot of heat, it brings a lot of fire. And so, because both the Sun and Aries are hot, and so the thing to note with the Sun is that it will scorch, it will singe the house that it's in. And so you might have had a adverse religious or spiritual experience. Maybe you got taken advantage of. Things like that. By like a professor, a priest, things like that. And so there's different things like that really affect this house. So wherever your Sun sits, that's going to be singed and scorched. And just know that, like, there's going to be a part of you that really doesn't like that or isn't interested in that. For example, like for let's say Gemini. Like if the Sun is in Gemini, someone will have a sore throat. It also pertains to the body part. Sagittarius is like the hips, the thighs into hips and things like that. And so those areas could tend to get inflamed. Things like that. So when we have this here, though, the deeper meanings and impacts of this position, of this placement, are that you could very much be like a religious or spiritual leader of some type. Remember, Sun is leadership, authority, royalty, things like that. And we have that in the ninth house of teaching, of, spirituality, philosophy, things like that. So you could be a spiritual teacher, you could be a philosopher, a professor, someone who leads and guides others to their own, like, enlightenment kind of thing, to their own path. And you could be, anywhere from a teacher, professor, leader of some kind, even like a non-government organization, like an NGO, like humanitarian kind of leader, because a lot of times, you know, that's kind of the cause of religious or spiritual organizations, is to help people and get back to people and things like that. But yeah, the sun here, this also gives you an ability to creatively express yourself and speak. Well, whether it's through speech, through writing, like you could be an excellent author too, like talking about spiritual subjects, religious subjects, even like, academic subjects. You could become an academic scholar, an academic authority of some kind with this position. And yeah, and then with the sun here, oftentimes what you'll find is people with a lot of kids, because it's fifth from the fifth. So, because what does the fifth house have to do with? It has to do with kids. It's kids, it's children. So when you have sun in the fifth house or the ninth house, or trine, typically fifth and ninth, that shows signs of having children. Also, a good indicator of children is your Jupiter placement, wherever that's placed. Jupiter rules the ninth house, and it's a sign of children, progeny, expansion. Jupiter is all about expansion, so it's all about that. Having children, expanding your progeny, and things like that. So, yeah. Let's see here. But yeah, so if you just take that, basically for any astrological placement, you take whatever sign is there, combine that with the planet, with the house, and you'll come up with your own interpretation of that. And that's what I teach people to do in my astrology course. So if you want to be a part of that, then you can go to gebotheshaman.com. And yeah, I have astrology courses there. I have my Qigong courses. If you really want to tap into some powerful energy, check out my Qigong courses, and just all that good stuff that I have to offer. And once again, if you want an astrology reading, then you can go to gebotheshaman.com, and the links and stuff are down below in the description. I also have a 12-step codependency recovery program. If you want to be a part of that, then you can check that out down below. Alright, guys. It's also at patreon.com/gebotheshaman. That's one of the options there. For all my regular services, then you can go to gebotheshaman.com. Alright? And with that, that's pretty much all I have for you. So if you want to go ahead and, if you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and like it, give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe, click that notification button, click all, and we will see you next time. Take care, guys.